Hello everybody, yes, and hello Neil, how are you doing? Warhammer Fest, it's over for another year. It's cool to have it back, it is cool to have it back. This is going to be a little bit of a video, short video about, I say short video, it's not going to be a short video, is it? It's going to be a short video about what I kind of experienced at Warhammer Fest, and then mostly we're going to talk about some Golden Demon, but how cool, like the cosplays, how cool were the cosplay? I kind of want to do it, I kind of want to like dress up as an Inquisitor or something, but it's like the amount of effort these guys put into it. I don't know whether I'd be able to do it. It's absolutely insane, and I think I'd make a really cool like 8-foot Space Marines to be fair. So that would be good. Anyway, the cosplay phenomenal. Well done to everybody who did the cosplay. I did like Celestine as well with her wings. That was cool. I didn't get a chance to play 10th edition. Unfortunately, I was kind of rushing around, catching up with people, bumping into people, taking some videos as much as I could, taking photographs, I decided not to try and play 10th edition. I will have plenty of videos about 10th edition coming up soon, so keep your eyes out for those. We've got lots more information kind of landing every day, and we're going to get more of an idea. I am so excited. I'm going to be teaching. I've already said to a lot of my kind of community and also some of the people in like Crystal's community and her Discord. I'm so excited to kind of teach everybody 10th edition. It's going to be phenomenal, really, really cool. So I'm dead excited. This is my friend Andrew and Ben, and there's Steve as well from Vanguard Tactics playing in the final, if you like, one of the final 9th edition tournaments. I think it was won by Innes as well. Innes Wilson won it with his iron hands, which is fantastic. Well played to Innes. We had Kill Team going on as well. I'm going to learn Kill Team this weekend. I'm going down to Harlow to learn some Kill Team. I'll be taking my Necrons, of course. So Kill Team was played down at Warhammer Fest as well. It was fantastic. Yes, it was very, very busy. I don't think there was enough to do. I know this is like a stepping stone, and I know the Warhammer community and Games Workshop themselves are going to try very hard to put on more at the next one. I'm pretty sure this is kind of like a starting point, so it'd be really cool to see what expands and what gets added to next year as well. Always good to win a roll-off for the first turn as well. But Golden Demon, this is why we're really here. I entered Golden Demon again this year. I had 2 entries in. One of them was a little bit of fun. If you did see the little Chaos Familiar that I've been painting on stream, I threw him in just because he deserves to be in there to show off his prowess, if you like. And then my main entry, Glorfindel, I did get a finalist pin for Glorfindel. Unfortunately, I didn't get it commended, and also didn't manage to get a trophy, obviously. So we will go again next year. But Games Workshop themselves do a really good job of showing off all the trophy winners, and they cover them all on their website, which is great. And I thought it would be a really, really good opportunity for myself and also some of the other YouTube creators to show off some of the other models which maybe only got finalist pins, or maybe didn't get a finalist pin or got commended or anything like that. So we were running around. Please, if you do enter, please leave your models in the cabinets for as long as you can so that we can do things like this. I know they were saying that you could come and collect your models at 2 o'clock on the Sunday, I mean. And please leave them in, because then we don't get a chance to go around and show them off. But there was some really nice stuff in all the cabinets. The width and the standard, there's such a wide level of painting to get from the finalist pins up to the commended. Like the standard across that range is absolutely phenomenal. It's getting wider and wider every single time. So we're going to go through a few little bits and pieces, and maybe some advice and some tips if you are interested to enter. But as you can see here, there's some incredible stuff, and there's some really, really good painting going on in the community and the hobby as general at the moment. So let's have a look at some of the photographs that I took as well, and we'll have a look at some of the entries and see what we can suggest moving forward. So the first thing to kind of talk about is there's an absolute plethora of different models. I can't get my words out. Absolute plethora of different entries and styles and ways that you can enter Golden Demon. You can just grab a stock Games Workshop model, throw it on a nice base, enter it like that, or you can go a little bit further and you can convert something. You can work on a display base, and then obviously we have the high-end people who are they are converting, designing the display plinth, designing the way it's going to be shown, and controlling the angles that you're viewing the model at and everything like that. So there's lots of different ways that you can do it. The first one we've got here is really nice little AOS squad. We've got a huge ogre. I believe a lot of these models, I'm not sure about the ogre, but I think the other three models are from the Cursed City range. I do really like the little base that we've got down here as well. It's almost like a gaming board, and then with the holes cut out so that the bases can slot in. The Way Watcher and the little elf with the bow, absolutely gorgeous model. It's a stunning model to paint up for Golden Demon, regardless of whether it's going to be in a squad. It's a really nice dynamic kind of flow to it, and leans itself really well into a display piece. And then also the guy with the he looks like the guy from Shrek. The little short stubby guy, I can't remember his name, I've not seen Shrek for years, but he looks like that. Anyway, he's got a massive feather in his hat. Absolutely classic little pose, kind of just stalking around. A nice paint job on these. The OSL, just be careful when you're doing OSL at Golden Demon. You've got to be very particular about how accurate it is in terms of ambient and the glow that's coming from. I'm guessing it's from the hammer on this one at the front, but just be careful when you are doing OSL. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I've got for anybody who's entering Golden Demon: you have to pick a model which you really like, because you're going to be picking up the model and painting it over and over again. And also try not to be too clever with referencing things. Try to stick within the lore of Games Workshop, and you'll do really well. So I absolutely love this. It's such a cool looking orc, and straight out of me saying, just be careful what you're referencing and don't try and be too clever. We've got a red orc here, but he looks so cool. It's a really nice paint job, and obviously he's got his medic sign as well, just showing the rest of the orcs where to go if they do need to get healed up. Some really nice non-metallic on his metals, particularly his front foot. Really cool. Nice work on that one. Lilith Hesperex. I really need to finish this model at some point. Such a beautiful sculpt. The models and paint jobs that have been coming out of the community on this model is stunning. I think they are, for the most part, they are surpassing the heavy metal paint job, and this one is no exception. It's really nice. Simple base as well. Nice flow to the model, just naturally straight out of the box. Really nice paint job. Good non-metallic on the good non-metallic effect. Good metallic effect on the blades. Really cool. Like it a lot. We can't do a Golden Demon kind of roundup without getting the Sugs in here. The infamous prismatic sword on the Rainbow Warrior is so cool. Really cool. Damage on all the armor. Fantastic to see this there in the cabinets. Well done. Love Louise. She's absolutely fantastic. Real tour de force in the hobby. Absolutely love seeing this one. The old Bellicor model. Very cool paint job, and the little glowing orb in the front. I think that's a little transfer that's been dropped on there, but it works really well with the glow. The contrast between the green glow of the sword, the green flames on the sword, and the pink flames on the other side. Really cool contrast between those two tonally, and also just the colour as well. Works really very well together. I love this one. It's so cool. Nice Bellicor. Necrons. So there's two things that are amazing about this model. It's a Necron, really well painted as well. Proper cool green glow. Little Necron standing there on a base with his foot firmly on the head of a dead Ultramarine. Like it's just win-win. This is brilliant. So well done, whoever painted this one. You get a massive double thumbs up from me. This is one of the first models with a backdrop, and I've got some things to talk about with the backdrops. And the first one with this, 9 times out of 10, and probably 99 times out of 100, you don't actually need a backdrop. I think it works to the detriment of the model a lot of the time, and this one is really cool. And I think if you took just the backdrop board off and left all the scaffolding on, you would have such a strong silhouette, and it would look really, really interesting. And like, because the girders on this one and the light stage and everything that's surrounding the Goth Rocker, it frames it really well. You don't need the backdrop behind it, and ultimately, like, the backdrops limit the angles of view of the model, and personally I don't like them. There are very, very few reasons to have a backdrop. I think there was a really nice one at Golden Demon last year where they had a 30k Khan, and then the backdrop behind him had the shadow of him as what he will become in the future, the 40k kind of Khan silhouette, which was really cool. And there are some backdrops which work, but ultimately, if you are wondering about it, just leave it off. This one, if you just left the girders on this one, it would have been really, really cool. I think the backdrop just kind of pulls it down. The painting on the orc himself is absolutely fantastic. Really like it. Squig, nice and bright red down at the bottom. This is a perfect kind of IP on the nose. Brilliant little paint job. And I think, I've got a funny feeling, a lot of the cables are scratch built. So maybe some rolled green stuff or something. Anyway, really, really good. Love it. The Master of Executions. It's a really nice model. Very, very nice model. I've used it all sorts on my... I've used a couple of versions on my for my Night Lords, and this one's really, really cool. Massive blood splattered axe. If you're going to do a blood splatter again, I think I would. I can't decide whether that's supposed to be blood or whether it's supposed to be paint. Like, I don't know whether he's painted the blade, because if you look on the handle itself, it looks like there is a bit of blood for the blood god. But like, if you're going to do this one again, I would add blood for the blood god on the blade rather than painting it. I think that would just kind of help a little bit. And a lot of the times when you're working with blood, less is more. So add like a couple of little splatters, and don't go too overboard. I can totally appreciate this is World Eaters, so you kind of need all the blood on there anyway. So this is probably the exception that proves the rule. But very, very cool. And I do like the base as well. It's a nice depth to it. And the skull's kind of falling down into the depths. I probably would have tried to add a few more skulls below the level of the plinth, if that makes sense, just to help circumnavigate and kind of help guide your eye back into the model, and it breaks that border, and that sort of aspects of models looks really, really cool when you're breaking borders. Nice model, like it, well done. Abraham Gaunt. Is it Abraham Gaunt? Or yeah, I think it's Abraham Gaunt. Anyway, really cool. Love the model. The Tanith cloak has always been something that looks amazing on Imperial Guard. I'd love to be able to sculpt cloaks quickly so I could add them to more of my Imperial Guard, because I think it just looks brilliant. Nice paint job. I love the hazard stripes on the chainsword. It's really, really well done. As is the face. The face has got so much emotion in there. Really nice, simple plinth. This is one of those plinths that I think might benefit again just from kind of just extending over the boundary of the plinth just a little bit. The level of the plinth and kind of coming up and breaking into that log works really well. It does work really well, but I think just extending it just a fraction over, so it's not confined by the width of the plinth, would probably help as well. But a really, really nice paint job. I love this one. Another Necron. You can't beat Necrons. If you want to get featured on on future Golden Demon videos on my channel, paint a Necron. Really good. Fantastic. So non-metallic gold and non-metallic silver, with some green glow going on here as well. Sweet paint job. Nice simple plinth. Again, these are the kind of ones that, like, you don't need to overdo anything. I'm guessing this one's been painted for gaming as well. Like, if you are trying to paint for Golden Demon, I would urge you to not paint it as a gaming piece as well, because I'm guessing this is a base that's been blue tacked onto the plinth. So try to get the model onto a plinth of some description. But this is really nice, really cool. I do like the Chronomancer. But yeah, next one. Let's have a look at the next one. Commander Farsight, the little Lady Tau. It's a nice battered. It's really good seeing battered Tau armor. I'm from the generation, well, maybe not generation, but I played a game called Armored Core, which is actually coming out again in August. I played a game called Armored Core when I was in my teenage years. It's a little bit like Mech Warrior, but much more quick and brutal, if you like. And all the mech suits and the frames in there had damage, and I actually got Commander Farsight. Sorry, this is Shadowsun, isn't it? Not Farsight. I got Commander Farsight recently and painted him more battered up. And seeing Shadowsun here all battered up looks really, really cool. Just be careful when you are gluing the guns together on the Tau, because you do get a join line. So if you're painting for Golden Demon or any kind of competition, try to kind of fill those join lines in and run a little bit of milliput into them, just to help that out. Some of the Tau fins and grates and vents and things are a bit of a nightmare because they're in halves and they're a bit awkward to fill the joins, but really, really nice, spot on. Maybe I was going to say maybe you could have a little bit more on the base, but I do like the silhouette and the nice clean space below her. It really separates her out from everything else, yeah, spot on, really like it. Little Chaplain, classic model, came out from Indomitus. Nice base as well, a couple of little flowers poking out from underneath the rock. The face is fantastic. I think that's a face from a Reaver, so it's not the natural face from the Chaplain. I've got some non-metallic on the iron halo, and also down the silver and the gold on his Crozius. It's just a really, really nice job, and the text. Just want to draw everybody's attention to the text on the scrolls. That's fantastic, and it's a really, really clever use of colour on the first letter. So if you think of old ancient scripture and paragraphs and things, they will have those large inset first letter, and it's a really, really clever use of a different colour for those first letters. And there's also a little bit of almost an Inquisition eye down there, so you get a massive thumbs up from me on that one. Nice armour, really, really cool. Another Necron. I've seen a lot of these models painted. It's such a classic model now. It came out in Indomitus. I've painted 2 of them for myself. Richard Gray, my friend Richard Gray, has painted one for his Patreon, and this one has come out as well. And I absolutely love the little scarabs, and you can just see the painting on the scarabs. Very, very cool, because you can just make out in the depths underneath the rocks some more creeping out. Nice, clean, non-metallic. If you're going to enter something like this again, I'd probably just try and work on the refinement of the non-metallic, try and get those transitions a little bit smoother, and the midtones as well. Just kind of make sure that the midtones are drawing your focus up towards the top of the model. So for instance, the head could probably have a little bit more midtone in there on the silver. Really, really nice colour combination though, with the turquoise, gold and silver. So well done, brilliant. Black Templar with a massive flag. The Black Templars with all the skeletons on there. I don't know. I don't even know where the banner's from. Where is that banner from? With the skeleton and all the candles and everything on the top. Brilliant. Wherever that's from, it's really, really cool. Obviously, chains everywhere, chaining him up to his weapons and to his Crozius. And I really like the kind of half damaged sword on his backpack as well. I am struggling. I don't know my Black Templars well enough to know whether this is a legit sculpt or whether it's a conversion. It's really nice though. It's very, very well done. Just be careful again with the base. Like the clarity and the cleanliness and care and detail on the model itself is really good, and then the base is maybe, I don't know whether you had to rush the base because you were running out of time, but I think the base, you just need to put the same amount of care and attention as you've put on the model onto the base as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you paint next year. Well done. 40k squad. Now this one, for anybody who's been watching me on my Twitch streams recently, I have been doing an awful lot of Inquisition retinues and armies, and my little Inquisition boarding party is getting slightly out of hand with the amount of models which I'm starting to paint for it. So these are the models that have come from Blackstone Fortress, but it's a little bit, it's getting a little bit close to all the new Inquisition stuff which is coming out. It's a very, very nice detailed set of models. Great presentation with all the little plinths. If you could get one of these plinths so that it didn't have the gaps in between them, that would be great. Like fill those gaps and then repaint them over so that it looks like it's one piece. That would be amazing. I appreciate that's incredibly difficult, but I love the little hexagonal slabs that they are standing on. I think that's a really, really nice little neat touch, and very, very cool. I do like that a lot. And the Rogue Trader at the back as well. I've actually used that one as my Rogue Trader and swapped her front arm for a sword. The Psyker down at the bottom. I think the poses and the positions of all of these have worked really, really well. The one thing I would say is, because you've got it all staggered, maybe try to think about getting the taller models on the lower levels, so that you can then end up, once it's all kind of put together, the heads are at a similar height across all of them. So the robot, for instance, could go on a lower level, so that he pulls his head up towards the same level as some of the other models. So that's just one thing to think about, but it's a really nice, it looks really nice composition just like that. Now this is a friend of mine who I met down at Warhammer Fest this year. This is Hendarian and his Eldar. If you've been following him on his Instagram, he's been sculpting and printing all these bases. They look fantastic. His very classic blended style across the armour as well. I do absolutely love that Void Runner up in the top right hand corner, the blue. I think that's absolutely beautifully painted. And then as we go down towards the front, we've got the Farseer at the front, or the Autarch, whichever one that might be representing. The pink and the blends and kind of how clean all this looks, is absolutely fantastic. I'm always excited to see what Hendarian is painting, so we're obviously going to be excited to see what he enters next year. Well done, mate. I can't remember how to pronounce this guy. Kahawaza, something or other. Anyway, he's an Inquisitor. He's got a massive Finecast model of a massive steampunk walking steam engine in the current range, and this conversion has just taken that to 11. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I do like the Skaven Screaming Bell, the way that they've used the Skaven flaming ball of doom on the right hand side as well. Brilliant, brilliant. And we'll just zoom in and we'll show you a little bit more in there as well. Really good use of OSL as well with the flames. If you can refine, if you've got any more time and you fancy kind of refining this anymore, I would probably do that and then try and get it back in again, because the freehand around it all is absolutely brilliant. Well done. It's beautiful to see this in person. It's really cool. And a Be'lakor. We've got a new Be'lakor. We had the old Be'lakor last time, and now we've got a new Be'lakor. New Be'lakor sculpt. The flames underneath. It's just very, very well painted, this one. It looks really cool. It's an interesting colour choice because it is all very, like the whole model is very warm in tone, and then you've got the cold flames on his sword as well. So if you were going to kind of look and improve on this, I would try and kind of just shift the tones around a little bit, because ultimately the first thing you see on this is the flames down at the bottom, which is great because it leads you into the model, but you really want to try to be focusing your attention on the face and the chest. So I would just try to somehow, in whatever colours you pick, if you're going to do something similar, or whether you want to tweak this one and improve it a little bit more, just try to kind of push your colours and tweak the colours around the head and the face. But what a model, really cool. And from one massive winged monstrosity to another, we got Magnus the Red, who technically did absolutely nothing wrong. And this is one again, so this is one where you've got to be careful a little bit with your OSL again. If you have a look here, the OSL from the ball on his staff is trying to cast some light onto the feathered wings. Just be careful how strong that's looking, because if it was strong enough to hit that, it would be affecting a lot more around the model. So you would have like red all the way up the arms, all the way across the top of the shoulder of the wings and everything like that. It wouldn't just be hitting it in like a little ball like that. So just be careful with the OSL. It's probably easier not to put that onto the wings and just have a little bit of like ambient variety, ambient lighting variation on the wings, something like that. But the skin on this is incredible. The non-metallic all over the gold, absolutely brilliant. Great detail on, great little kind of pips of detail on the eye on his belt. Really well painted. Some great clarity on this. Nice model, really cool. And a very simple plinth as well. Very simple plinth. This was so cool to see. I remember this, that I think these were, was it 5th edition, 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy? This was the front cover of one of those. Now this is one of the exceptions that proves the rule. Like, this as a backdrop works because we're setting a tone. There's a reason why this one has a backdrop. It's replicating the front cover of a Warhammer Fantasy book, which I think is brilliant. The backdrop itself works with the model because you've got the bright spot silhouetting the front of the horse and the sword, leading you into the model itself. There was a similar one at Golden Demon last year in the UK where he'd done the spike cover from the Wood Elf Blood Bowl team. That looked really good as well. That's a great use of a backdrop. This is another great use of a backdrop. This one looks really good. I love seeing this one. Absolutely love seeing this one. Nice little nostalgic throwback. Well done. Loved it. Nurgle. Oh, this is gross. This is gross. Oh, look at all the slime dripping off the. All the slime dripping off and everything. I'd love to kind of paint Nurgle, but yeah, for somebody who loves horror films, I can't believe I don't like Nurgle as much. But brilliant. I had to put this one in. It's so gross. And the goo drips hanging off the disc is absolutely brilliant. Now, from gross things to amazing things, vampires, fabulous. Everybody loves a vampire. In fact, Richard Gray did 4 of them for this Golden Demon, all of them amazing, and this one is no exception. This one's fantastic. Really cool, interesting armour. Good choice. Trying to do the red and the colours and the high contrast colours in here. The light placement might be just a little bit out in certain areas, but you've got some good contrast with the patina as well in certain areas, showing up in the oxidation. Nice sword, cool pose, great detail on the face. If you can, try and get those little pupils in there. I know she's a vampire, so maybe she doesn't need them, but try and get just a little bit more detail on the face and also on the hair around the face, just so that you're drawing your attention again and your focus to that important part of the model. But really cool, nice. And this model as well, because this one's from Warcry. Is this one Warcry or Underworld? Because this one's from Underworld, I think it's Underworld. You can, because it's got the sculpted base, you could get that sculpted base straight onto a plinth. And if you're fancy trying a little bit of sculpting, you could extend those flagstones out into the plinth, so it kind of breaks up into the plinth as well, so it wouldn't need to be on the base, and that would look really cool then. It'd be a lovely piece to have on your shelf after Golden Demon. This is just another example of a backdrop. It's a cool piece. It's a lonely Imperial Guard who's walking in a desert. The backdrop itself, so you have the kind of the night sky backdrop, and I know it's setting a scene, but I can't help but think that this would look better without the night sky backdrop and the rocks behind just a little bit more slender. Like, you can set the scene, you can make it darker. You could have there's like a strong shadow and some moonlight kind of coming down and setting the scene without having the backdrop. And I think if you drop the backdrop and kind of slim down the rocks, you would just have a stronger silhouette of a model as well. And if the rocks were moved over to the right hand side just slightly and she was moved over to the left just slightly, like, so if you think of the rule of thirds in photography, so if she was a third in from the side and the rocks covered a third in on the other side, then the rocks would almost frame her as well when you were looking straight at her, and you'd have a nice strong silhouette. But nice job, really cool to see this one in at Golden Demon. And yeah, definitely keep painting and getting your models into Golden Demon, because it's really important that these kind of videos, we can show everybody all your work. It's really cool. Oh, the Death Call of the Krieg. When these came out, I wasn't sure. I was like, do I like them? Do I not like them? Ultimately, I do like them. They are great. And I absolutely love the more antique-looking weaponry that they're wielding. This is great. I'm not entirely sure of there's a plank or a like a wooden pillar just right up at the back. I don't think you need that. I think you can kind of drop that little bit of height. The broken rubble and the bricks is absolutely fantastic, and they're kind of finding an opening in the ruins to shoot out of. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. This is really, really cool and very, very accurate and realistic. There's great attention to detail on the base. You got so many different varieties of colour and texture in there. It's absolutely brilliant. Really, really cool. Ideneth. Now, this is... I love the model. The model is so cool. It's really well painted, nice and neat, keeping everything together. Tonally, it really sets the scene for underwater, and like the corals and everything. So extensive, so expansive. And because I quite like the fact that it's on a large plinth as well, because it's showing how big and how expansive the bottom of the ocean is and everything. But I think you're all going to know what I'm going to say now. You don't need the backdrop. Like, I've taken one more picture just to explain this. So this is so cool. And if you had this silhouette, how cool does that look? That looks brilliant. So I think if you could keep that sort of silhouette, you really don't need the backdrop. Yes, you can have a few little bits of kelp. If we go back to the first picture, you could have some bits of kelp on either side framing her, but they don't need to go very high. They certainly don't want to intrude in her headline or anything like that. But the silhouette of her like that looks fantastic. So drop the backdrop out and just see what you think, because the base itself is brilliant. I love how large it is. Painting is great. It looks really nice as a display piece, and yeah, as a silhouette, I think that's really, really strong. I think this is. I don't know how long it's taken him to do this. I've been following it along on Twitter. It's incredible. I was really curious to see whether this, whether this would make it down to Golden Demon, and B, how big it actually was. And it did not disappoint. This is huge, absolutely enormous. The Emperor on the Golden Throne, or Guilliman on the Golden Throne. It's so clever. It's so well done. There's so much detail in there, and a lot of like nice, bright golden light straight down the center as well, so that you know exactly where to look. It's just, this is one of those things that if you had a little bit more time and you could go around and just add a fraction of detail everywhere, so that you know where to look, and then your eyes can explore all the other detail that's around there. It's so cool. And very, very clever to be in a box as well. Absolutely love this. How can you not like this? It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then equally next to it, on the next shelf over, was this huge tree. This reminded me of a book that I read when I was about 7 called The Faraway Tree. And it's got all the Sylvaneth down at the bottom as well. Bright pink blossoms. Brilliant little tree. And if you scan through, you've got all the little Idoneth. The Gossamer Archers are one of my favourite of the... Sorry, not Idoneth, Sylvaneth. The Gossamer Archers are some of my favourite Sylvaneth models, and they've been used really well down here as well. One thing I would say is try not to have too much foliage overpowering the models. I know they are Sylvaneth and they are kind of moving through the forests unseen, but it is nice to actually see the models sometimes. So that one, the archer at the back, for instance, is a little bit lost in all the foliage there. So just drop some of the foliage around and think about the foliage framing the models and leading your eye into the models rather than obscuring them. Very cool. I can't believe how... I don't want to know how long it took you to make that tree. It's incredible. And then... Everybody's favourite, Space Hulk. When, if ever, are Games Workshop ever going to release a new Space Hulk? Like, they only need to release the book and some counters. Like, we've already got all the Gallowdark map and everything now, so we don't need the board as such. We just need some counters to mark out the Gene Stealers, and the book, so that we know roughly how we're going to move through the map. But this is fabulous. This is so cool, and I love the little elevator on the left-hand side as well, with the Gene Stealer reaching down to try and take the Terminator out. Yeah, this is brilliant. And fingers crossed, because we are getting new Terminators. Fingers crossed we get some new Gene Stealers as well. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? And then we can almost revisit this and do it again. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I would absolutely love to have this on my wall at home. It's fantastic. Really cool. We're getting into some of the smaller stuff now, and we have Elrond, the Master. So Elrond, this is when he was on his way to Dol Guldur to save Gandalf. So he's on the ruins of Dol Guldur. Very cool model. Nice. I really like the idea to have the ruins literally as ruins, and holding up on a slab in the center, and then the ruins on either side. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm pondering and wondering whether it needed the slanted plinth. I think a flat plinth there would just kind of push the silhouette even stronger. But very cool. Nice non-metallic. I like doing non-metallic on this kind of scale as well, because it allows you to really push the detail. So great choice on the non-metallic there as well. Fantastic. Denethor, bring me oil. Oh dear, there's the most gross scene in Lord of the Rings where he's eating his dinner. What a model though. I didn't even know this model existed. That's so cool. The Denethor model that I know of is not this one, so I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go through the Lord of the Rings range and find this, because I want to paint this. I want to paint this model now. There you go. Whoever painted this has inspired me to go and find this model and paint it up. Really cool, and I love the slightly subtle. So this is how to do a very subtle OSL. I love the slightly subtle yellow glow all the way across one side of his armour and his fur and his hair and everything. Absolutely brilliant. Really nice. It's very dusty though, isn't it? I wonder whether that's Golden Demon. I just give your model a quick dust before you hand it in next time. Legolas. Now, what's the first thing you notice about this? I mean, it's Legolas, yes. It's on a really, really cool little mounded plinth, almost like the gunman on the grassy knoll. But he's got a bow. He's got a bowstring on there. Brilliant! What a cool idea. I've done this on a couple of mine. I think because of his hand position and because of the bow position, I would have made the bowstring up to his finger, so I would have had it as like a full draw as opposed to just letting it go. But then ultimately, also, I don't really know where he's looking, so maybe he has just shot a bow and he's looking around to catch his next one. Really nice paint job. I do like the colour green as well. I'm curious to know what colour you use, so yeah, let me know what colour green you use, because I might want to use that on some of my Galadrim. It's really nice. What a cool static grass on the mound as well. So this is a duel. I love it, absolutely love it. Two little snotlings just having it out on the Blood Bowl pitch. That's my ball. No, it was my ball. No, it was my ball. And ultimately, an elf has already run off with the ball anyway, so it's irrelevant. But I just had to show this one in there. It's so much fun. This is what Golden Demon's all about. Finding some really fun interaction between two models for a duel is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'd have given this one a finalist spin if I was judging. And then from two little snotlings to a crab and a parrot. I have no idea where the parrot's from. I do not know where the parrot's from at all. I think I'm going to have to brush up on some of my Games Workshop range knowledge, because I don't know what model and range that's from. The crab, though, everybody loves the crab. I think, didn't it come second in one of the models of the year polls recently? But this is really cool. I like it. It's lovely, lovely base as well. Not distracting. Great composition. I like the little jug in the water as well. Nice paint job. Really cool. And also the colour scheme on the crab is fantastic. Love the yellow to pink. Love it. Now, if you didn't go to Golden Demon, you won't have got to see a lot of these. And that's a travesty. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these kind of videos, and it's exactly the kind of reason why this kind of entry needs to be seen a little bit more. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The freehand on the, I don't know what you call it, warp energy, psychic warp swoop. With all the freehand of the original faces, I'm guessing, just before he takes his head. It's really, really cool. The backdrop, I like that the backdrop is at least working with the two models, so it's got a hotspot between them, so it's kind of framing them and silhouetting them quite well. But ultimately, just think what this would look like without the backdrop. Like, it would have such a strong silhouette. And ultimately, you would be able to see the freehand more because you won't be distracted by the big sun glow in there. So I think if you took the backdrop off this, it would push the freehand even more, and it would look, ultimately, I think it would look really, really good. So yeah, just please, if you take anything from this video, just ask yourself 100%: do I need a backdrop on my entries? Yeah, this kind of video is exactly, this kind of entry is exactly why I wanted to do this sort of video, because we need to shout out things like this. This is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'd love to see this in person, in the flesh, not in the cabinet, because obviously in the cabinet you've got the bright lights shining at it as well. So yeah, I'd love to have seen this in hand and had a good look around it. It's so cool. A little elf duel, Chaos Space Marine versus Eldar. We've got I think is that a melter pistol? It's either a melter pistol or a flamer. So it's a flamer versus a plasma pistol. Who is going to fire first? Who's going to get the first shot in? We don't know, but whoever it is probably going to win, because I don't think you're going to survive the melter, and I don't think you're going to survive the plasma either way. So who is going to fire first? Very, very cool. It's a nice metallic painting on the background as well. The The backdrop, it's got a nice kind of height and flow to it as well, so it's very, very nice and very, very nicely done. And then some more little, so when I was filming this, we got access, very kindly Games Workshop gave some of the content creators access after hours, which was great. So on Sunday night we were there until gone 11 o'clock trying to get all these photographs, and we were doing it while they were judging. So while we were going around the cabinets, they were removing models and putting them back and everything. So as I was going around, I skipped some of the categories where they had removed some models to judge, and they were kind of moving them around and rearranging the cabinets into commended finalist pins and the rest. So this is why this one has come back. So I went back towards the AOS single miniatures and had a look at them again. Little Empire Great Swordsman with a massive moustache, nice plinth, nice base. I do like the flagstone, like the brickwork on that, and then underneath the foundations as well. Just be careful with the level. So if you look at the brickwork, it's just slanting a little bit to the right hand side, and possibly it's a bit difficult to see, but I think it's slanting backwards as well. So for things like this, like, you absolutely categorically want to have that brickwork flat. So be careful when you're placing that down. Again, you've probably got a little bit of leeway when you're gluing it to the foundations, but really nice patina on the gold on the backdrop. Really nice patina on his armor. You can see the kind of a little dusty rust all running into the recess and everything, but very, very cool. And it's a great choice as well. Just quickly, it's a great choice of highlight on the sword, because the highlight placement on the sword is exactly the same height as his face, which is where we want to be looking. I would possibly just push a little bit more highlight into his cheeks, just to keep your focus on there, and you could almost push a little bit more at the top of the moustache as well. But what a model, what a model. This is why we need Old World back, because Old World is going to allow us access to all these sorts of models again. Brilliant. And another one as well, I think this one's from Curse City as well. This is one that I want to get hold of to try and turn into an Inquisitor at some point. We saw this one in the AOS squad earlier on, and this is another really cool paint job, especially with the little hands which are creeping out to try and grab at his feet as he's walking by in the graveyard. Very, very cool Witch Hunter. And they're kind of a mini Nagash. He's kind of like a little bit Nagash, a little bit. I can't think of the other guy's name. The Mortarch of one of the Soulblight legions. I can't think where he is. Is he an Osiarch now? Arkan the Black. There we go. So it's kind of Arkan the Black, kind of mini Nagash. I'm guessing it's Arkan. I don't like Arkan because I'm a Tomb King at heart. So, but yeah, very, very cool. I love the green glow on this one, and it extends. The green glow extends really well out forwards onto these two spirits at the front as well. So it's not confined to just his staff and just his book. It's showing what that magic is doing as well, coming into the spirits and pushing forward. Very, very nice. And this is a great example of models and the atmosphere breaching the boundary of the plinth. So it's coming away from the base, away from the plinth, and extending out towards the viewer. Really, really nice. And a finalist pin for this one. Well done. Nurgle, and it's horrifying. This one is absolutely brilliant. Some crustacean crab legs on the bottom of a Nurgle warrior, a Jellipox infected Nurgle warrior with a Nurgling like swinging out from what could possibly even be his intestines out behind him. This is brilliant, and I absolutely adore all the different colours that have been used on this. It's a really brave and really well executed model. We've got blue leopard print crab legs with green and kind of icky flesh. We've got some really good yellowed, diseased flesh on the actual Nurgle warrior himself. Great choice of yellow and then the green armor. It contrasts really, really well. And then, of course, the massive eye underneath as well, looking up at him. It's just brilliant. It's so gross. So gross. I love this. I'd love to know more about what this model is and whether it was converted for an army or whether it's just for Golden Demon, like what the idea was. Absolutely brilliant. If this is you, please drop me a message. And we have a Iron Warrior here. So Iron Warrior, this is a custom sculpt. I know a little bit about this model. This was a custom sculpt by Barry Watkins, so and Farius on Instagram, and this was painted by one of my Discord members. So this is painted by Duck, so you can find him on Instagram as well. And it's a really, really nice sculpt. It's a good paint job. We're really getting there in terms of painting for a competition. I've already given feedback to the painter on this one. But if you look at this model, like everything tonally is pretty similar, and you're not really guided around the model. So just be careful when you are painting. Like Iron Warriors is very easy to go, I'm going to paint everything steel, which is cool. But for a display piece, you just need to kind of get a little bit more colour in there. So maybe think about changing the colour of the hammer, shifting the. I really, really like the base. The base is fantastic. I do like the base, but I would try and shift that to a little bit more of a red tone. Think Martian Iron Earth or something. Really dusty Martian. Stonework would be really, really cool on that one. So I'm looking forward, because he is going to work on this and re-enter it next year. So it'll be really good to see it be all refined and tidied up, and all the colours pushed just that little bit further. Well done. You can't not have every single vampire that you see in this video. Like it's just, there were so many vampires. I'm like, I need that vampire. I want to put that vampire in there. So this is the vampire that came out. It was one of the anniversary commemorative limited edition models. Came out really, really nice. I love the little dragon resting and sleeping on her arm. Beautiful sculpt, really, really well painted. I've got this sculpt as well. I've actually turned mine and converted mine into Neferata. So that's one that I was going to paint up for Golden Demon, but just ran out of time. So maybe that'll be a future entry as well. And I'm sure you all know now what is coming, but it doesn't need the backdrop. You don't need the backdrop. You have set the scene plenty with the little gothic fence, the skull, and the tombstone. It's absolutely brilliant. You don't need, like, look at the silhouette of that model with her huge high collar. That's a silhouette that you want. Not particularly the castle in the background, which is distracting from that really, really cool collar. Love to see it though. Now, this is a very, very good and well executed example of how to do a duel. So you've got two elves here. You've got one defending down at the bottom, and the other one has the high ground up at the top. Up at the top, and she's clearly just about to like vault over him and lose her legs and her arms. So this is really, really nicely done. I love the kind of the balance of the base and the fact that it's a curved base as well. So you're guided up around in a circle. So you're guided from the Daughter of Cain up at the top. With her spear, you're guided following that line of the spear down to the elf at the bottom, and then onto the base, and then the bottom of the base curves all the way back round up to the top again, and you're just constantly your eyes are just constantly going around in that circle, investigating and exploring all the different angles. This is really cool and really, really well painted. Nice. And this is one that I was looking at this one more and more over the weekend, and kind of liking it more and more. It's one of those, like, there's lots of these LED strips which are appearing more and more in the hobby at the moment, and I couldn't quite decide on them. And because I'm a painter and I like painting things, like I'd like to paint this effect. But ultimately, looking at it is really, really cool. One thing that I would recommend and kind of suggest is, because you've got this really bright LED firing the Volkite into the chest of a not a loyalist, a traitor marine, because you've got that firing into the chest, I would try to really lean into the fact that you've got the light going in there and add some more cracks and show the glow coming from within the traitor. Just kind of imagine it like a split second later and the armor is like really breaking and cracking and opening up, and really lean into the fact that we've got some glow going on there, because at the moment the thing that you notice is the firing of the Volkite itself. And I think ultimately what you want is you want to focus on the two models. So I think one of the ways to do that is to have the model that's been hit just show a few more cracks so you can see some more light just kind of easing out of it. I know you've got quite a lot on the face, but I would try and crack the armor and just really exaggerate all the glow in the LEDs, because I think that would be ultimately, I think that would be really, really, really cool, and just take this up to the next level. I think it's fantastic. Another duel. This one's a classic. I don't think we need to say anything about this. Ragnar versus Ghazghkull. Rah, 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 rah. How Ragnar is going to get past that massive claw, I do not know. It's brilliant. Again, Ragnar has the high ground though, so who's going to win? We do not know. Absolutely brilliant. The painting on this is really nice. The composition is really nice. I love the fact that Ghazghkull just looks so chunky. He looks so big. One little tip that I would probably suggest is Makari is a little bit in the wrong place. And by that I mean that the silhouette is broken up of Ghazghkull. So you've got Ghazghkull's Mork's Roar firing at Ragnar Blackmane, and you've got all the flames coming out of the barrels, but you can't see that silhouette. That silhouette is broken by Makari's banner, so I would probably just shift Makari. I don't know where you'd put him. Maybe you could, maybe if the base was a little bit longer, you could add him behind Ghazghkull's claw, something like that. But I would just like that. The silhouette of Mork's Roar reaching out, and then Ragnar Blackmane's hand reaching out to meet it. I think that's the silhouette that you want to keep clear and clean, and I think Makari just kind of breaks that up. But what a duel! Absolutely love this. Absolutely brilliant. And actually, and I never thought I'd say this, this actually wants me to get Ghazghkull and paint him up, because he looks monstrous there. Absolutely monstrous, and I never really liked the model, so thank you very much, and well done for making me, for inspiring me to actually want Ghazghkull, because that's awesome. We've got another little crab, little crabby dude. And one of the details on this, which I had to photograph, was the little goblin with the bubbles coming out of his mouth as he's breathing underwater, chasing this crab. Chasing the crab, little night goblin. I don't know why a little night goblin is chasing a crab underwater, but he is, and it's beautifully presented in this opal shell as well. Fantastic mother of pearl shell. It's brilliant. Nice little diorama. This cool little duel. Great presentation. There we go. And now we're into the Lord of the Rings, one of my favourites. I cannot stop painting Lord of the Rings at the moment, and this model in particular, I really do want to have a go at painting, and this is a very good example of how to paint it as well. You've got great texture on Saruman's robes, you've got great detail on his on the trim of his robe as well, you've got some cool detail on the Palantir. What a model, what a paint job, and it's a really nice little simple plinth as well, the base. If you are going to do this base, I would just suggest cleaning up that join line so you can't see the join between the base and the plinth. It should be very easy to do that, and yeah, it is really cool, and I think I will definitely pick up this model. So this is doing this video is actually being monetarily bad for me, because I'm flicking through going, oh, I really want that model, oh, I really want that model, and this is yet another model which I really want to have a go at painting. This is awesome, love it. And a friend of mine, this is Mr. Radagast, painted by a friend of mine, Matt Kennedy, who did really well in the small scale category this year as well. And just seeing, because I've had a look at this in person, and I photographed it before I knew I was going to see it in person, because I wanted kind of like a record of having seen this model, so I could kind of reference back to it. But the detail that has been placed and piled on this, and we've got a little bit of an insert. Matt very kindly sent me a picture of the freehand that he did on the bag as well, which I couldn't quite get a photograph of in the cabinet, and then I saw it in person. I was like, that freehand's insane. So this is the kind of level that I need to be pushing towards for my next entry. And it's just simple things like the clarity and the cleanliness of presentation here as well. It's so good. They've got the plinth is battered and cut up because we've got a rocky staircase, and then the stonework and the gems and everything is so crystal clear, even down to things like his fingernails. You can make out what where his fingernails are, and of course, one last little thing, we've got the little hedgehog there as well. Little Sebastian down by his foot. Yeah, this is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. It was an absolute pleasure to see this in person as well. And the composition and the proportions and balance of this plinth as well, with the curving staircase, and then even where the space and the empty space that's created with the staircase is filled with some vines and some hanging chains. It's just got so much going on. It's really, really cool, really good. And honestly, I think he was very, very unlucky not to get a trophy for this one. It was absolutely beautiful, really, really nice. And now just the last few wanted to shout out. These are from the open category, and I know I've been saying about backdrops and be very, very careful with the backdrops. I can't. This is one of the ones where I can't decide, and honestly, if I can't decide, they're probably to the detriment of it. Like, I can't decide whether these ones need the backdrop. I like the fact that it's setting the scene between all of them, but there's no real flow between any of them, so it's not like you're telling a story from left to right, as you would read a book. That's how generally everybody reads a book. But because of that, because we read from left to right, what's the first thing you see here? Well, you actually see the Calidus with the bright blue backdrop. So you see the last model, and then you're forced to go backwards through the models to look at them. So I mean, if you are going to do backdrops, I would probably have put the Calidus first, so you're reading from the bright Calidus down through the rest of them. I would really like to see this without the backdrops, and again, if you could get the plinths so that there wasn't a gap between them, that would be fantastic, so they were all one piece. And if you did that as well, you could almost have like the snow bleeding into the next display plinth, and some of the vines from the Eversa just kind of creeping into the next display plinth, and some of the goo from the Nurgle monster that the Calexus has killed kind of creeping in and bleeding into the next plinth, in the same way that the Vindicar's rifle barrel is creeping into the Calidus's plinth. I think that this has got real cool potential to tell a really cool, interesting story about all the different places and environments that all the four assassins work in. But I'm just not sure about the backdrops. I think there's something really cool here, and I think you could actually investigate this further and really push it, and probably re-enter it again next year. But yeah, have a think and let me know what you think. Golden Demon is is apparently on Saturday the 29th of April, which it was, and he's got 5 days to go, and he's working on his Land Raider Proteus ready for Golden Demon. This is so ingenious. so imaginative and so creative. It's brilliant. I wouldn't want to, like, I'm guessing he's got like the boxes and printed them out and shrunk them, or shrunk them and then printed them out. But making all the wet palettes and the brushes and the little glass, and you've even got a Space Marine there on a little plinth himself. You've got the Golden Demon entry forms. It's so good. I had to show this one out. I had to shout it out. It's absolutely brilliant. And then this is one of the last ones. This is such a nice model, such a nice sculpt, such a nice kind of subtle paint job. Scar across one eye as well, so you don't have to worry about matching the eyes. I know that's not the reason why he's done it, but it's such a cool like idea on the scar. It's a really clean paint job. I would like a little bit more saturation, but that's just me personally. I think this one's a little bit muted. I'd like to push a little bit more red and blues into it if I could, if it was me, but I do like the ambient lighting that is going on here. We've got some warm red on one side, on the right hand side if you look, and then on the left hand side we've got a much colder ambient light that's going on there. So she's clearly like facing either a battlefield which has got some explosions going off, or a fire on her right hand side, well, on her left hand side, so on our right hand side. But this is such a nice paint job. I really liked it. Very, very cool. And then the last one for you. This is the last one. And this is a model close to my heart. I've just picked it up. I've stripped the model which I've bought. I might have to buy it again because the model is a little bit damaged. So I'm going to try and find one myself. I want to enter a Inquisitor model in every single Golden Demon going forwards into the open category, and this is of course Eisenhorn from the game Inquisitor from 2002. 54mm, absolutely brilliant 54mm game with lots of metal models written by Gav, and it's just so iconic, and it's brilliantly painted, really well executed. I do like the snow down at the bottom. We've got a little bit of freehand on the inquisitorial inside the inquisitorial robes that he's wearing. So there's a lot of attention to detail here. I think if you were to kind of carry on and keep refining this one, you've got some incredible detail on the inside of the robes, and some freehand and some clarity and clear details that are going on. I think you could probably push the face just a fraction more as well. Get some brighter highlight spots on there just to keep your focus up onto that face. But that is the final one. I'm going to drop a quick picture of my Glorfindel up as we finish. I've got some thoughts. I will probably do some thoughts like a post thought video on my Glorfindel. Ultimately, he wasn't good enough to make his way through to the commended and trophy section of the competition, which is fine because there was some fantastic models. Well done to everybody who did win a trophy. I've got a number of friends who walked away with Golden Demons this year, which is great, and I look forward to entering. I'm looking to maybe go to Adepticon next year, and then of course we have Golden Demon at Warhammer Fest, whenever that might be, straight after that. So I'm going to start my entries. We're going to be painting them undoubtedly on Twitch. I will keep doing some YouTube videos to keep you all updated, so please drop by onto Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Chris Frossin. You can find me on Patreon as well. I'm going to do some more painting videos and tutorials on my Patreon over the next few weeks, so patreon.com/Chris Frossin, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook under the same name. It's just at Chris Frossin. So thank you very much, everybody. Well done to everybody who entered Golden Demon. Please, if you have any thoughts about entering Golden Demon, please do. I cannot stress how important I think it is to enter some of these painting competitions. It's a completely different style of painting. It's different from painting for yourself. If you're painting for yourself, you'll just look at the model and go, oh cool, I've done it, and kind of put it down. Whereas Golden Demon, you have to keep picking it up and doing it and painting it even more, and I promise you will come out of Golden Demon A, more inspired to keep painting, and B, with one of the best models you've ever painted in your life. And from that you will learn an awful lot. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for watching this incredibly long video. I did say at the beginning it was going to be short. I knew that was not going to be the case. But thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.